Hey everyone. Welcome to the final installment of the Modern Cult Classic Canon Take 4 series. I've had a lot of fun talking with you about Donnie Darko, Morvern Caller, and The Lobster, but this movie I've been really excited to talk with you about. David Lowery's 2017 supernatural mood piece, A Ghost Story. Ultimately, when I talk about the films in this series, I don't talk about the filmmaker's intentions or the concrete meanings behind the films. Instead, I talk about the way the movie specifically made me feel. The way that certain choices in the cinematography, the compositions, and the score connected with me. That's all I've ever tried to do as a film critic, is talk about the certain emotions that films raise in me. If you want the nuts and bolts of a film, there's a million other writers you can look up that'll give you that. At the end of the day, I feel like I'm only qualified to tell you how a specific piece of art makes me feel, not how it should make anyone else think or do or say. If cinema is a machine for empathy, as Roger Ebert once said, then cult cinema is the little baubles and doodads that the machine spits out after you turn it off and it slowly sputters to a stop. With all of that said, A Ghost Story makes me feel too much. Rooney Mara and Casey Affleck play a married couple who live in a small house in Texas, where they live and they love and they fight and they have sex and they just exist like any of us do. The husband is killed in a car accident right in front of their house. And instead of moving on into the light, he decides to haunt his wife and hang out in the house. He's wrapped in a sheet with the eye holes poked out like a child's interpretation of what a ghost would be. And somehow, it's never silly. Not even once. A Ghost Story was made on a $100,000 budget and ended up making somewhere around $2 million from the box office, which I guess means it was a freaking smash hit. It's amazing that the film was made on such a small budget because A, it looks amazing, and B, because it is literally one of the most ambitious films ever made. Not in terms of explosions or special effects, but because of what it's about, namely, everything. The film is a poem, plain and simple, existentially meditating on time, death, love, existence, memory, the universe, and everything in between. And yet it never feels like a navel-gazing exercise in pretentiousness. Don't get me wrong, the film gazes at the navel for sure, but it also exists as a way to examine our own lives and deaths and think about the relics that we leave behind. A Ghost Story is a very slow-moving film with long, uninterrupted takes of Affleck and Mara just existing with each other. We watch them sleep. We watch them talk. We watch them fight. None of it feels important. None of it feels like something that's going to carry with us through the end of the film, but all of it does. All of it feels like an important piece of reality that we recognize as our own, that belongs to someone else. We can feel like what they're saying and what they're doing is something we've said or done in our own lives, finding the universal in the specific. Lowery is so patient, letting the camera capture moments of pure and uninterrupted silence before expanding into the cosmic scope of the story. Something that once again feels like it exists only in ourselves becomes a part of the entire universe by the end of the film. Daniel Hart's score is epic and intimate. Andrew Drove's Palermo's cinematography finds achingly beautiful textures in the mundane. The 1:33:1 aspect ratio makes every single frame of the movie look like an unbearably claustrophobic moment from the worst photo album you've ever seen in your entire life. Every single aspect of this movie, from the technical side to the performances, combined to make this movie basically perfect. There's like 50 perfect movies that have ever been made. A Ghost Story is one of them. So, good people of Ben Film, believers in Tin Pan Theater, and invisible heroes of YouTube, A Ghost Story is my final selection for the new modern cult cinema canon. I have a list of 96 more, and I'd love to share them with you, but this is where I leave you. I'll talk to you again soon. I promise.